Welcome back to the show, everybody. Welcome back to Head in the Office. What an episode.
What an episode we've got ahead today, right in the midst of the holiday season.
Right at the climax of the year.
At the precipice of the year.
We've got an excellent story to tell you. We are going to do a 2021 in review episode. This will give us a chance to cover topics that we never got to talk about because we started in July.
Pretty much everything from the first half of the year that honestly, looking back on it, feels like it happened later in the year, but no, it did not.
Kind of insane, all of it, by the way.
Yeah,
We've got some
I
crazy
was shocked.
stories. We got some small stories. We got some big stories. We got a lot for you all.
There's a whole bunch in between, too.
Yeah. But before we get into the show, you already know what I'm going to say. You got to check out the Patreon. You got to check out the
socials.
YouTube, the TikTok. If you want to support the show, become a patron. Patreon.com/headintheofficePod. You know where to find us.
Another great way to support the show. Writing a 5-star review.
A 5-star review, one of which we've got today.
That's right.
You know what, Gage? This one mentions you directly.
No
I think
way.
You should read it.
I should read it?
I think you should read it.
Let me get in there. Let me get in here. Based from Tegan. Gotta say, as a queer woman living with chronic illness, I get you, Gage. I appreciate it. These guys are pretty based. Thank you. The pod is informational while still finding humor in the pile of hot, steaming garbage that is the state of politics right now. I agree. Good, actually leftist takes. Love it. See, I was wondering about that. I appreciate that little last bit because I was worried that we would be attacked for not being leftist enough because you know how the internet is?
Yeah.
So that's great. That's an overall great review.
We would be attacked for not being a leftist enough, but also we're tankies.
So true.
Someone would listen to our bit like a couple weeks ago on Ukraine and be like, they love Russia.
Yeah.
Some shit like that.
No, that's facts. That's facts.
No, but I think we're leftist enough. I think we are, this is a new take. No one's come up with this. We are the perfect amount of left, and anyone further left than us is dumb.
So true.
Anyone further right than us is dumb.
Yeah, just right here, right where we are. Great.
We are the perfect
objectively good.
We are the golden mean, if you will.
The perfect progressive, if you will.
Mm-hmm. So I think, well, first of all, thank you for the 5-star review, Tegan. I really appreciate you. If you all want to support the show, leave a 5-star review.
Yeah,
we got a lot of new listeners according to our stats. So welcome to the pod. Welcome to the pod, y'all. We hope that this is like a home for you.
Exactly. I can't wait to go into the new year with you.
Exactly.
And see all of the just what shit show that the midterms are going to be next year.
Hand in hand. You and us. We and you.
Exactly. We'll be walking in stride.
Yeah,
Exactly.
All right. I think it's time to dive into our 2021 year in review.
It's time to get right into
2021 is hindsight, by the way.
2021 or hindsight is 2021.
You know what I meant.
Exactly. All
It's been a long holiday break.
So to start off our recap, I want to take you back to a couple weeks ago, just a couple times throughout the pod where we mentioned the phrase that reality is stranger than fiction.
It's true.
Come up a bunch of times. We've talked about it a lot. And I wanted to introduce the absurdity that was 2021 with a little anecdote that I think perfectly and totally encapsulates everything that statement means. And so before we dive into 2021, I want to take a step back even further to 2013. If you may recall, there were 2 movies that came out right before the summer of 2013.
Okay.
Both titled, one titled White House Down and the other Olympus Has Fallen.
If only they knew.
I'm going to let you guess the plot of these movies.
You want me to guess?
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen them.
You've seen them?
You
know.
I've seen them both.
So you know what's good.
It's basically just an attack on the government, both of them.
Yes. In both movies, paramilitary groups in broad daylight storm the White House in attempts to kill or capture the president.
Yeah.
Crazy, right? Little did my 12-year-old self know that in 8 short years, an event similar to that, like eerily, starkly similar to that, would happen. But it wouldn't be done by a highly trained, highly armed paramilitary group.
No.
It would be done by a bunch of dudes that embody what it is to be a cargo short.
Embody what it is to be an American.
Yes. A bunch of cargo short looking ass dudes.
They got the mobility of a nightstand.
Facts.
Built like a refrigerator.
Facts.
Embodying what it means to be a cargo short.
Would be able to take Capitol Hill while all of the senators were there, as well as the vice president. And it wouldn't be done by a foreign group, by our own citizens, incited by our very own sitting president's rhetoric.
With almost no response from the police or military.
Met with zero force, at least in the movies, right? They're action movies.
Oh, yeah.
There were bullets flying. You know what I mean?
There's a whole plot, a whole strategy. There's usually like a white dude at the center of it that's like saving the world.
Yeah, shit's going everywhere. In one of them, they even like airstriked the fucking The fucking White House.
Just like we said.
Just like we said. Just like I thought. Because I remember starkly like watching the movie thinking, no shot. Absolutely no fucking way that this would happen.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure if anything like this was even attempted, there'd be, I've talked about it before, machine guns that pop up out of the ground just ready to gun down everybody and anybody in the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I remember back when that happened, that's what you told me. You were like, I really thought people would just get murdered.
Exactly. Like, I thought that they'd have had snipers like trained on everybody. And I mean, they would have if it wasn't a group of white people, but that's besides this point. You know what I mean? But yeah, just my 12-year-old self is inside me. My inner child is absolutely baffled at everything that took place this year, and specifically that. And I'm sure you know what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
The January 6th insurrection.
It's really funny how Hollywood depicts like an attack on American democracy as like, you know, people from the Middle East storming the Capitol, blowing things up, killing people, that kind of stuff. But in reality, it's just a bunch of fucking
white guys.
hogs.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Like,
it.
That is that's real life.
It's
That's real life.
Not only is reality stranger than fiction, but life truly does imitate art.
I would have been able, like, I can picture like a foreign country taking us over more easy than I can like a bunch of hogs taking over the government.
Oh yeah, if a paramilitary group were there and wanted to do that, they just would have done it. Like, considering the resistance they were met with there.
That's insane.
God damn, no wonder so many people, like so many regular people actually think it was Antifa.
Yeah.
Even though they have just a crazy misconception and false pretense of what Antifa is. Like, that's what they think they are, you know? Ridiculous.
Insane. But, you know, starting off the year, the new year, you know, we come out of 2020. It was tough.
Exactly.
Pandemic, a lot of people were struggling. At least we had unemployment benefits at that point.
True. Barely won the election.
But yeah.
Sleepy Joe.
Joe Biden wins the election. I mean, he does win. A lot of people say he doesn't, but he does win.
He literally did.
A lot of people excited. I was one of I was excited about it.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't have been.
Hindsight, again, is 2021.
My my liberal self was trying to creep back into my mind. And we start off the new year with an actual blast.
With an explosion.
With a real life explosion on January 6th with a group of MAGA supporters, Donald Trump supporters, from a rally in D.C. They were at a Stop the Steal rally, and Trump tells them, go to the Capitol. And they do it.
Please, march on the Capitol. He said something like, go and fight for what you want. He said, fight.
Right. But just 3 days before that, January 3rd, Trump was pressuring the Georgia Secretary of State to overturn election results for him, even though Biden won without winning Virginia, or Georgia, sorry.
Bro literally said on the call to Brian Kemp, right? Was it Brian Kemp or was it the DA?
Brad Raffensperger was the Secretary of State, but Brian Kemp was the governor. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was implicated as well.
Yeah, the call was with Raffensperger, right?
I think so.
He literally said on the call, I'm going to need you to find 13,000 votes for me.
The exact number he lost by.
Yeah. Dude, put him one over the edge. Just one. Bro is not subtle with it at all. No, absolutely no grace.
Yeah. So, and then, of course, later, there's the insurrection on the Capitol that lasted like the entire day, January 6th. Very crazy stuff, but it was Antifa, of course.
I remember I was just like driving around that day, like looking for shit, going from store to store. And then I like tuned in. I opened up YouTube on my phone and I pulled up the NBC broadcast and I was just listening to it as I was driving around thinking, what the fuck is going on?
What a crazy day.
Yeah.
But as soon as that was happening in the house while people were outside or right afterwards when they came back to certify the election, you had people like Matt Gage saying like, well, I heard Antifa was there.
Dude.
Which that makes no fucking sense at all.
You had people like Matt Gaetz saying, I heard Antifa was there. And you also had people like him and the other crazy hog-ass senators trying to not certify the election for their state. And then you had all of them fucking applaud themselves for staying throughout the night to certify the election as if they did something like heroic.
People like Matt Gaetz himself and people like him.
Madison Cawthorn, all those guys.
Encouraging the rally. And then they said it was Antifa that stormed the Capitol. Like there were known white supremacists there. The same people that raided the Capitol were the ones that were standing around like counting centers on the night of the election, telling them to stop the steal or keep the vote counted. Like these are the same people that were harassing election officials in like Georgia and Michigan and Pennsylvania. It's not surprising to think they would storm the Capitol at the behest of the president.
And then there was specifically that one dude, the QAnon shaman, the dude with like the bull hat, right? And people took pictures of him from an Antifa protest and him there and said, this is definitive proof that he is Antifa. Like this is an Antifa sting op. It's a honeypot. You know what I mean? No, he was counter protesting the Antifas.
He was counter protesting the Antifas. And if you like zoom out because the picture was cropped, I know when you're
it was
about,
cropped.
Zoom out, he has a sign. This is like QAnon is true or something like that. So
He's got American flag drip all over his face.
That was really funny rhetoric. But shortly after the coup, Trump is banned on several social media sites, including Facebook and platform. Facebook and Twitter, and that's a ban that would be upheld back in May of 2021 when a board of like Facebook employees or something like that, they voted to keep the ban going,
and that,
because they're reconsidering it at that point.
That gave fuel to like the whole like new version of the big tech wave, like the anti-big tech rhetoric that we saw all throughout this year. That is fucking hilarious.
I love it. But it was also devastating for us content creators. Like it's probably good for democracy in general that Trump is off these platforms, but
his tweets were so fucking funny.
I miss him.
His tweets were so
funny. His tweets were hilarious. I miss him. I miss him just for like the comedy factor.
Exactly.
But then January 20th rolls around.
Okay.
Biden and all of the newly elected people are inaugurated.
Ooh.
And everything's better, right?
That's the runoff elections, right?
The runoff elections were before the coup. I think a day before the coup attempt, and then
they weren't
John
sworn
Ossoff,
in until...
Raphael Warnock, they won.
Yeah.
On January, I think 5th or 4th, something like that.
Yes, it was.
And then the coup happened, and then they're sworn in on January 20th.
Okay, makes sense. That just spawned one of my favorite memes from the whole entire year. I'm sure you know what I'm alluding to. The debate, Raphael Warnock, the very charismatic Kelly
radical
Loeffler.
liberal,
radical liberal Raphael Warnock. If he'd have lost that race, I swear to God, Georgia would be beyond saving.
Oh yeah,
she's absolutely she's a charisma suck. Like she's
my God.
Devoid of anything fun.
David Perdue, he didn't even show up for his debates. It was just Ossoff on stage alone.
That dude is fucking horrible too. He got there. He got up at a rally, and he distinctly tried to be more racist to win more votes. Like that was a campaign strategy of his.
When he was doing
be racist,
the quote unquote Kamala.
He said her name right, and then he goes Kamala.
He works with her.
Yeah,
he knows who she is. Vice presidential candidate.
And then he made John Ossoff's nose bigger.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I remember disconnected, but I remember God, what was his name? Jamie Harrison running in, I think, against Lindsey Graham for Senate.
Okay.
He was a black guy.
Yeah.
And they made him intentionally darker.
Oh my
the
God.
negative campaign ads. Didn't do anything.
God.
Lindsey Graham still won. Didn't matter.
Yeah.
But they made him intentionally darker to scare people.
That's fucking horrible.
It's just racist.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, and that's 2020. I'm not focused on the past.
Yeah, so true.
I'm focused on recent.
I'd like to move on.
Exactly. So on January 20th, Biden, as well as Senator Warnock, Ossoff, and Padilla, which was the guy that replaced Kamala Harris in California, they were all inaugurated, giving Democrats a 50-50 advantage with the vice president being Democratic in the White House.
What vice president being the tiebreaker?
Exactly.
What we thought would pave the way for all of Biden's campaign promises.
We really thought it paved the way for election reform,
$15 minimum wage.
$15 minimum wage. We thought we were getting it all.
And we got none of it. Forgiveness. Yeah, absolutely nothing. I don't think a single one of his campaign promises has come through.
No.
I bet dude was shitting himself once the results finally came through.
He was like, damn, I got to do stuff.
He said, shit, we got to actually try. Yeah. I can't just blame it on Mitch McConnell now. Fuck.
And side note, I want to make a side note here. Senator Warnock, Raphael Warnock, is the 11th black senator ever.
Yeah, that's
in all of history.
Wild.
The 11th.
Wild. Tell them how many there've been.
Out of almost 2,000 total senators throughout history, there's been 11. Less than 1%. Or is that about 1%?
2,000, that's less than 1%.
Yeah, yeah, much less. My bad. Math. Political science major.
Yeah, exactly.
But 11 black senators out of almost 2,000 senators throughout history. Now, if you think about Congress in totality,
the House and the Senate.
Yeah. Okay. There's been 174 black members of Congress throughout history. That's it. With 59 of them, 59 of that group, about a quarter of it, being in the House or Senate right now. So a quarter of that number is from current history, modern day. And to make matters even worse, there's been about 12,415 members of Congress throughout history. And only 174 of them have been black people. Less than 1% of our entire legislative body has been black Americans. And you have the audacity to tell me that the system isn't skewed in any kind of way.
Yeah, you have the audacity to tell me that systemic racism doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You have the audacity to tell me that there are no barriers to entry for these people, especially in things like Congress, just any political office. You have the audacity to tell me that racism doesn't exist today.
Yeah, and I mean, the numbers are similar for all other racial groups. It's similar when you think about women that have served in Congress. I think Congress right now is only 27% female.
Yeah.
So, Like, yeah, the system has been run by old white men for like all of our history.
Forever. The entirety of America.
Yeah, exactly. And you have the audacity to tell me that none of the systems they set up were just built to purely benefit white men?
Uh-huh.
You're silly.
Silly little
You're
goose.
absolutely silly.
Silly
But
little baka.
after Biden's inaugurated, his first 100 days came and went. Not much happened.
Oh, yeah.
But they came and went.
So important the first 100 days, as everyone said.
Exactly. But we could talk about a couple of things he actually was able to get done. No legislation, I don't think, or no major legislation passed in the first 100 days.
It was just the American Rescue Plan wasn't passed till later on.
I don't remember.
It was passed some. When did
I think it was the first 100 days.
Yeah,
the American Rescue Plan. We'll talk about it in a minute.
Exactly.
But he passed a lot of executive orders. Not many, not FDR level, but he should be passing like 3,000.
Really should be doing that shit.
But some of the executive orders that he did pass include rejoining the Paris Climate Accords, which is it's a piece of paper.
Yeah,
wasn't doing much anyway.
It didn't really have restrictions on us.
This is a pod favorite.
Yes.
Canceled the Keystone XL pipeline.
We absolutely love talking about this one because of how much fucking hogs freaked out about it, thinking that it did everything. And it's honestly just grown on me even more after we did that episode about OPEC, Holiday Pregame 1, where I dived into like what drives oil prices. And now that I know that it has nothing to do with the fucking pipeline that wasn't even built yet.
Yeah, the pipeline wasn't there. The
Ridiculous.
Pipeline wasn't there. We've been talking about the Keystone XL pipeline since episode 1.
I think so, yeah.
Since the first time we summarized how Biden was doing so far. Keystone XL pipeline was in there.
Yes.
And also in there was our commentary on how it doesn't fucking matter. The next thing, another executive order, he issued masking requirements for all federal offices, lands, and buildings. And when I was doing my research for this section, I stumbled across the 100-day masking challenge, which clearly did absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Because he was like, we're going to mask up for 100 days and get through this pandemic.
That's crazy. And then Delta
dropped. I forgot
dropped.
about it after a week, yeah.
And then Delta dropped.
And then he also rescinded a bunch of Trump-era executive orders, such as the ban on transgender people joining the military. He overturned some immigration policies, but not the ones that are important and prevent people of color from coming into the country.
We'll get into that later, though. We'll get into that once we get to like June.
And of course, there's a bunch of other stuff as well.
Yeah.
But I'd really like to see him be like an FDR style president.
Facts. I remember
if I can indulge my liberal self a little bit.
I remember there was huge fucking backlash about the amount of EOs that he was putting through, with conservatives screaming about how he abused his power, like the president before him didn't incite a riot at the Capitol before that.
That, and also I'm pretty sure to this day Trump still passed more executive orders.
Probably.
And I
wouldn't be surprised.
I know Obama passed more than Trump, I'm pretty sure, but they're like the numbers are pretty close, and Trump served for only 4 years. Obama served for 8.
Yeah.
Like at least within modern history, it's not strange to pass somewhere between like 200, 300, and 400 executive orders.
And it's not strange to like use the EO as a means of pushing your agenda if you don't have the Senate or you don't have means of like getting it through another way.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of how modern day politics is done.
Literally what FDR did. Over 3,000 executive orders because the Senate and the House wouldn't pass some of his stuff.
Exactly.
And he still couldn't get everything done.
And it's just so funny talking about abuses of like administrative power after he did all those fucking pardons. After he pardoned the Blackwater guards, which are responsible for the Blackwater massacre. Ridiculous.
Very, very funny. And then to round off January, Marjorie Taylor Greene during January was reported to have harassed David Hogg, who is a gun rights or a gun restriction, gun reform activist, and a survivor of the Parkland school shooting. This happened in March 2019, but the report came out January 2021. She called him completely trained, but only while on camera.
Yes.
And she also compared him to a dog, like being trained like a dog. And then in the research I was doing for this, here's a quote from the Sun Sentinel. They said, Greene explained she saw him in a hallway and was upset because she saw that he was getting to see senators and getting news media coverage while she wasn't getting any. And this is a quote from Marjorie Taylor Greene herself. She said, "I was blown away. I was amazed. And I promise you, I was really jealous. I can't get anything. And here's little David Hogg running around with this gaggle of girls, literally girls. There was not one boy his age, not one man going with him. He was literally surrounded by women. They were all women his age."
What the fuck?
Fucking psychotic.
What the fuck, dude? Was this when she was running? When she was running for Congress? Is
no,
that why
she had already won at this point.
Oh, she had already. How long has she been a congresswoman?
Oh my goodness.
2018.
I feel like it was in 2018. I feel like she won. Didn't she win in 2020 because that one dude died or something?
That's what I thought. But if this was, like this happened in 2019.
Yeah.
So was that when she was running?
Yeah, she was definitely gearing. Yeah.
So she was just mad that the fucking kid who survived one of the most horrific school shootings in the country's history, and we've had a lot of them, by the way.
Yes.
Like one of the worst ones, and is now talking about gun reform getting media attention when she's not getting any, when she's not even running a real campaign. You know why? Because she wasn't running against a real opponent because they had to drop out.
Yeah.
And she just kind of defaulted into the win.
Yeah, and even if I can't remember if she was elected in 2018 or not, even if she was, like this dude, he started an interest group, March for Our Lives. He was a survivor of one of the most horrific school shootings in American history.
My God.
And she's mad that he's getting attention from like elected officials who aren't going to do anything anyways.
And he's got a bunch of girls around him. Can you believe that?
That is, I don't know why she's like so attached to that, like that aspect of the story. Know. Why are there so many girls around him? Like, I don't know.
He's running around with his little harem.
Yeah, like, why does she care? It's so bizarre. And this is the same time that she was talking about like Jewish space lasers causing the California fires and all that kind of stuff.
Facebook posts have come out talking about literally saying that she said Jewish space lasers shot down and caused the California fires.
Yeah.
Absolutely
and then,
batshit wild
do
stuff.
You remember right after that, or like a month after, whatever, she like got on video to like apologize for it. And then she doubled down.
Yeah.
Because she said, I went to like a Holocaust memorial. And then she like doubled down on her conspiracy. She's the only bit of content akin to Trump that we have. So I'm hanging on to it.
And it's honestly like worse. Like somehow she's more deranged.
Oh my God, I know. She's actually insane. And then we have February. And February marks a massive cold snap in Texas that leaves millions of people without power, heat, running water, all because Texas has a privatized power grid.
The only state in the union.
Yeah, that does not rely on the East Coast or West Coast power grid.
Yes.
They have their own, just in Texas.
They are literally completely separate, so they can't even tap in when they like need it. When they need help, they can't tap into the East Coast or West Coast grids. The grids that run the rest of the fucking country.
Yeah, if you look up a map, you literally see like the country's divided in half. There's the East Coast grid and the West Coast grid, and then there's Texas, the Texas power grid,
which is all private.
And then right after that happens, Ted Cruz is seen in Cancun.
Cancun Cruz.
Chilling.
Fled Cruz.
And then immediately after this, conservatives blame the cold snap and like all of the energy production failing on the Green New Deal.
Dog.
Even though the Green New Deal hasn't passed.
Yeah,
it's not anywhere.
Never passed. It never even got talked about, really.
And even in states that do have some components of the Green New Deal through like their state legislatures, Texas is not one of them.
Oh God, no, dude. I remember. Was it episode 3? Trump's unbearable Arizona speech, where we talked about his speech. He said it was all the not solar power, wind power in Texas. It's all the windmills that failed. The windmills froze and couldn't go. That's why we had the power outages. That just didn't happen.
No.
Like I remember covering it and it just did not happen. And they blamed it all on like wind and all these renewable energy things in Texas.
Yeah.
Of all places.
And the windmills that are in Texas actually held up pretty well, but their systems weren't weatherized.
Yeah.
Like the private companies were told to do from the Texas state legislature. And all like the oil pipes and gas pipes just fucking combusted because they couldn't handle the cold.
They literally just ignored it. And I remember like just the easiest way to debunk all that is there are wind farms in Antarctica.
Yes.
You can definitely weatherize these things. They can definitely handle the cold.
We have them in the coldest states in the Union.
Exactly. We have them in the coldest place in the world.
We put them in the ocean. Like we have them in bodies of water that get very cold. You just have to weatherize these systems, which the power companies in Texas were told to do, but they never did because it's not profitable to do
profitable,
that.
Exactly.
Not profitable.
You need to give them free market incentives in order to do it.
But apparently people dying is not good enough.
Yeah, that's not a good free market incentive.
People starving just isn't good enough. And of course, this is just one example of extreme weather conditions that are caused by climate change and just further reinforce the need for a Green New Deal in general.
Yeah, which is just another thing that's kind of like creeps up every once in a while this year, climate change, with the myriad of climate summits that we saw that did absolutely nothing.
The COP26, the 26th one. Because that's what the 26 stands
annual
for.
One. What was the G7?
Yeah, there were the G meetings, of course.
Yes, of course.
There were the G meetings.
Real G shit.
There was a lot of climate change news this year. That's really scary.
No, definitely. There's a lot of we need to solve this shit by this date or we're all gonna die. There's a lot of that met with a lot of we're working on it.
And a lot of we need to invest in electric cars.
Yeah. Met with a lot of Joe Manchin saying, well, we kind of need to, like, it's just cheaper to do all
But what
the
about
coal
my
stuff.
clean coal over here? That
What
definitely is not
about
polluting the environment.
all these clean coal, natural gas, and fracking initiatives that we could do? Because we got so many like well springs here in the United States. Just open up fracking.
Yeah, the super duper clean coal.
Yeah, exactly. Climate change, really just a hopeful subject when all of the presidential candidates, well, all the ones that could actually win, Joe Biden, Trump, said, yeah, we're going to frack.
Exactly.
I'm not banning fracking, straight up.
Gotta love it. And then, of course, the liberal response to the Texas crisis.
Absolutely fucking atrocious. These people really came through. Comes to mind, Marcus Diapola, in particular, the TikTok news dude that, popped off initially, said, you voted for this, enjoy it, Texas. And that was a general response we saw from liberals.
Yeah.
Was them just, like, talking shit about all the poor, either, like, poor fucking people in Texas who had literally died because they froze to death in their own homes. They starved, whatever the fuck happened. All the people that were just stranded, freezing in these horrible conditions. Like, I saw videos of fish tanks that were just fucking frozen with fish in there. That's wild.
Yeah,
in
like
houses.
Ceiling fans that had like icicles hanging off of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
In Texas.
And exactly. And the thing is, like, this happened before in Texas 10 years prior. And again, the power companies were told to weatherize their systems. They didn't do it. And then you have people saying, like, well, you voted for this. And that's just fucking ridiculous because a vast majority of people, or not a majority, but I guess a vast plurality of people did not vote for this.
Yes.
And a lot of people that can't vote because of voter restriction laws did not vote for this.
And that's another thing I want to talk about. There's a huge population in Texas that is very liberal.
Yeah.
Very, very liberal. There's a huge population.
Very gerrymandered as well.
About to get it. There's a huge population that didn't vote. In Austin, in particular, there's a huge population that is disenfranchised because Austin is divided into 6 districts. Coincidentally, isn't Austin the place in Texas with the densest black population and minority population?
Probably.
Yeah. Wild, right?
Yeah.
And it's split into 6 districts.
All of
gerrymandered
all of the districts that connect to the suburban white areas, by the way, so that they could dilute the power of the minority vote. And you're going to blame them for not electing.
Yeah, it's their fault.
Yeah, you're going to blame them for not electing more state senators that are going to like fix their power grid or whatever.
And I'm even willing to bet most of the fucking like poor Republicans in Texas don't know what the fuck they're voting for.
No.
Most Republicans don't know what they're voting for in general, and they're just swayed by all the culture war rhetoric, or they're one-issue voters when it comes to guns, or they're one-issue voters when it comes to abortions. The point of all this is just to say that liberals fucking suck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Liberals, like, big time. And it's like that kind of statement where it's like, well, you voted for this, also portends that when you vote for people, they'll actually do good stuff. Which we've seen with Democrats is not true.
Yeah,
like,
Joe
even
Biden.
if we had more Democrats in the Texas state legislature, there's no guarantee that they would have actually weatherized the systems.
Yeah, they told them to. They literally had told them to, and the private companies just didn't do it. And it's like, Joe Biden, run me my student loans. You know?
Exactly.
You
promised.
promised.
Buying German Shepherds, and I still got student loans you're supposed to cancel.
What the fuck is that about? You promised. Chuck Schumer even said you should do it.
Exactly. What's that about? Anyway, moving on to some more news in February.
Yeah.
In February, on February 22nd, the U.S. surpassed 500,000 COVID deaths, 500,000. And shortly after, on March 11th, the American Rescue Plan got signed into law, which was one of the few like decent pieces of legislation that actually passed.
I think it's the only decent piece of
one
legislation
one of two. Honestly, I can't think of any other than like the infrastructure deal, which did not get and will not get the Build Back Better plan.
Yeah, the infrastructure deal like by itself is just fine. Like we need that. So I guess that is another decent piece of legislation.
That's like a given. Like, do you want the water to run in the country?
Yeah,
like,
do you want more 13-story buildings to collapse in the country? No, we don't want that.
Do you want to be able to like drive to the grocery store? Like,
exactly.
Do you want to have to keep getting repairs on your car like weekly because your wheels keep falling off when you hit fucking potholes? Like, no, the infrastructure is just a given. It has to happen. We're running a country. Countries are expensive.
Yeah,
that's
so
it.
It was literally like one of 2 good pieces of legislation. And just in case like you forgot what was in it, that was the bill that gave you the stimmies.
Yes.
It gave you the stimmies. And it extended the PUA extension, the Pandemic Unemployment Insurance, which gave people the extra $300 a week in benefits.
Yep.
That got extended until September 6th. And it also individually extended the amount of time you can be on unemployment from 50 weeks to 79 weeks. Yeah. So actually a very good piece of legislation. And honestly, I would be willing to bet after 2022, it will be the best piece of legislation that Biden ever passed.
And this is where we started to see Joe Manchin not wanting to do anything for the American people. This passed. I think he voted for this. But this is where we started to see him doing things like saying, well, maybe we need to reduce unemployment checks.
Yes.
Maybe we need to reduce the stimulus checks.
This is where all that rhetoric
This is where he was
from.
like, maybe we don't need a $15 minimum wage.
This is where we saw the spike in because I'm sure it also like extended PPP loans and everything, which people don't really like to talk about the abuse that system went through. You know, and way worse than people just claiming unemployment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are businesses that would get like $400,000 in PPP loans and just fire all their employees after that.
Yeah.
Just say, I'm going on vacation.
Crazy,
right?
Yeah, but we never want to talk about those incentives.
Facts. The American Rescue Plan, before I forget, it also not extended the child tax credit, but increased the child tax credit from $2,000 to $3,000 per kid, or $3,600 per kid under 6 years old.
But you can kiss that goodbye.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Never coming back.
Did it get a year extension?
No, it didn't get anything.
Oh.
It's done. It's done after December.
Yeah, it's literally dead in the water because Build Back Better is dead in the water.
Yeah, Build Back Better was what it was supposed to include the child tax credit. And I think Manchin was against the child tax credit anyway.
I think so too.
So it wasn't going to get put in regardless. It's just gone.
Love
so
it.
I hope you enjoyed a year of child tax credit. I know it was very helpful for
families
in
it helped
poverty.
A lot of families.
Yeah,
actually,
like $300 extra a month is very, very helpful when you're trying to put food on the table.
It's a tax credit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a credit. Like it's not like UBI.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not anything like that. It's a fucking tax credit.
Yeah, and only if you have kids.
Like
only if you're below a certain income threshold too. Like it
it
was a good program.
If you're poor and don't have kids, you're just fucked.
Oh
like,
yeah, no, exactly.
Get shit on.
You actually don't matter. You're not contributing. And then later on March 16th, there were 8 people shot and killed in Atlanta, 6 of which were Asian women, prompting the correct assumption, by the way, that it was a racially motivated attack.
Yes.
It was a hate crime. And then only a week later, 10 people were shot and killed in Boulder, Colorado in a mass shooting. And as we know, would not be the last mass shooting of 2021.
Definitely would not be. Also, before I forget, back to like legislative news that happened in March. March was also when we saw Kirsten Sinema's big showing.
Yeah.
When it came to vote for what would be in the American Rescue Plan.
When it came to clothing too.
So true. So true. When she hit that, she walked down to cast her vote. She was walking down the catwalk, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And hit that fucking thumbs down for the $15 minimum wage. March is when we saw the $15 minimum wage die.
Yeah.
Just straight up, it was done. Like, there's no hope of that for the rest of the year.
She ate all of that and then threw that shit back up directly into my bank account. Did not give a damn about how much money we make.
For real.
She said, "You're poor. I don't give a fuck.
Suck my dick.
Get a better job. I'm in Congress. I'm cooler than you."
Facts.
And then she proceeded to wear like these crazy ass wigs to work.
Like a highlighter ass wigs, too. Crazy.
Something we'd get fired for if we were to work.
No, literally, that too. And the Senate also has like strict dress codes that somehow she keeps curbing. I only know this.
Dress codes?
Yeah, I only know this because there's one day a couple months ago where Ted Cruz showed up in basketball shorts.
Why? Did he just get back from Cancun?
I think he had just got back from playing a pickup game, which I don't know who's like playing pickup basketball with Ted Cruz.
Jesus Christ! Somebody better be crossing his ass up.
You better be hitting fouls on that dude.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, I'm playing rough if I'm in the gym with Ted Cruz. But yeah, he showed up in like basketball shorts and like a sweaty fucking t-shirt, and I think he got in trouble for it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Why can't you wear whatever you want to work?
I don't know. Exactly. You should just be able to in general.
Yeah.
I don't like
I'm on Ted Cruz's side for this.
I don't like. Yeah, this is the one thing I agree with Ted Cruz. I don't fuck with professional culture like that. Maybe that's why we're podcasters.
You want him to like walk in being all sweaty in a suit? Like, dude just got done dunking.
Exactly.
Like,
probably getting dunked on. Let's be real.
Probably getting dunked on.
Let's be real. I don't think Ted
dude
Cruz
is definitely
doing
as mobile as a refrigerator. He's not going anywhere.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, more bad news from March of 2020.
Okay.
Marked the first of the many voter restriction bills that would be circulating throughout the country, starting with Georgia, naturally. Gotta love Georgia. Implemented new voter ID laws, targeted absentee ballots. It gave restrictions around like giving people free water while they were in line.
Oh yeah,
so
you literally
can't
can't give out water while somebody's standing in line to vote.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? What? Literally, like, why? The only purpose is to just stop people from voting.
And, like, I know that's the most, like, flashy one to criticize because it's the most blatant, like, why the fuck does this matter? But they also tried to do things like make Sunday voting not a thing, which literally just targets black people.
It's fucking stupid.
They wanted to make absentee voting a lot more difficult, and they did, which, again, just targets minority voters that can't get out of work to go and vote.
Yeah.
They wanted to restrict early voting. Like, just all bad things.
It's just
universally.
Voter
ubiquitously
ID,
bad things.
Voter ID, the most infamous of those things that you would not not be able to hear about
Mhm.
if you ever turned into any conservative news outlet this year.
Mhm.
They're always talking about everybody has an ID. Everybody can get an ID. That's not the point. It's like the principle
Actually, like
of it all, too.
10% of Americans don't have an ID.
Yeah, and it is actually kind of hard to get an ID in certain areas where the DMV is shut down, and your best bet is to get on a fucking bus for an hour to go to the fucking DMV and then to pay for it and get all that shit figured out.
Yeah.
It's an unnecessary barrier. That's the whole point.
It's literally just a poll tax.
Uh-huh.
That's it. And it's you having to pay to vote.
Yeah.
And that, again, just affects poor people. And it's illegal, by the way. But in this sense, they're finding a way to skirt around it, so they're able to
Speaking
do it.
of polling.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of polling, almost forgot about this.
Yeah.
So this law and other laws, of course, they were motivated by the big lie. They were saying, like, well, we need to crack down on our election security because Democrats stole an election, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which obviously was false, but Democrats didn't really have a response to that. But I wanted to mention that polling suggests that rather than Democrats thinking democracy's in trouble, Republicans are the ones that think democracy's in trouble.
I wonder what false pretense that's built on.
I mean, I get, like, they think that the election was stolen, but you would think that Democrats would be more concerned since a fucking coup happened. But anyway, the numbers, according to a recent poll, or maybe it was a couple months ago, but 76% of the GOP says that democracy is under attack. Compared to 46% of Democrats. That is abysmal.
Absolutely wild. And it's just because Biden's in office.
Yeah.
As soon as their guy gets in office, and especially the presidency, they're like, oh, everything is chilling.
Bro, how can you look at what happened on January 6th, look at all of these voter restriction laws that are going on around the country, and think that democracy is not in trouble?
How could you look at all of the fucking recounts that were just wastes of taxpayer dollars, wastes of millions of dollars, because each recount is millions of dollars, by the way.
Yes.
Just millions and millions and millions of dollars poured down the fucking drain for these recounts built on false pretenses and not say that democracy is under attack.
Yeah. You
just
don't care.
But Medicare can't negotiate prescription drug prices.
Yeah. Like, but even if they aren't as in tune as we are, even if they're not paying attention to these new laws that are being passed or all the recounts or what have you, they at least do know about the attack on the Capitol.
Yeah.
And you're going to say for a second that the people that attack the Capitol aren't also, you know, their party is not also trying to make it so the next election is subvertible. Like, you're insane. Like, oh my goodness. It's like, it's crazy how weak Democratic messaging is. It's absurd.
It's actually horrible. I've said it once. I've said it 1,000 times, but it comes down to me. It's the ads that I see on YouTube.
Yeah.
Unironically, it is the ads. I'll see a fucking ad from Marjorie Taylor Greene again. Like we showed one of them on like an early episode of the pod.
Yeah.
She's giving away a 50 cal sniper. That is one hell of a way to galvanize her base.
She shoots socialism?
Yeah, literally. She shoots the word socialism.
Logically,
and it blows
incoherent. Doesn't make any fucking sense. But nothing she does makes sense.
But shit looked hard. It had like a cool guitar beat in the background. It was like, you know? And then I saw an ad from Chuck Schumer where he's standing in front of a gray wall, clearly reading off of a script, and he's like, democracy is under attack, and we need your help. We need you to donate to Occupy Democrats on Twitter. So
not Occupy Democrats.
And also retweet to thank President Biden. Thank you. I am Chuck Schumer. Have a good day.
Bro, Democratic messaging at this point just needs to be like, vote for us or you're going to die. Like,
no, literally. Yeah. Ooh, we'll get into that later.
That's all politics is at this point. Like, aside from the culture war, it's just like, vote for us or you're going to die. Like, I mean, that's literally how people are going to vote. I don't like fear mongering, but that's the only thing that's going to work at this point.
And then when they actually do that, which we'll talk about later, they do it in the most ungraceful, like the exact wrong way that you're supposed to do it. Fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on from democracy stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
In April,
more depressing news.
Yeah, more depressing news. More things about people dying.
Yeah.
Seems to be a trend in 2021. But anyway, in April, Officer Kim Potter, who murdered Daunte Wright, this was the man that was killed when Officer Kim Potter reached for her gun instead of her taser accidentally.
Accidentally.
She was charged with second-degree manslaughter in April, and then, of course, later in June, Officer Derek Chauvin, who murdered George Floyd, was convicted of all 3 charges and sentenced to 22 years in prison. And actually, recently, as of a couple of days ago, Officer Potters was convicted of her charges, and we're waiting to see how many years she's going to have to serve. Okay. But some preliminary reports have said 6 to 8 years. but probably going to get off on good behavior because in Minnesota you only have to do like 2/3 of your sentence if you have good behavior. So
classic.
That's probably what's going to happen. But I mean, I guess it's good that she's convicted.
Yeah.
And people have rightly said that 10 years ago she wouldn't have been convicted at all.
It's good that there's going to be a precedent now that you can't accidentally reach for your gun instead of your taser and fucking murder somebody.
Oh, I'm sure it's not going to be a precedent. It's literally just one instance.
Christ.
They're going to find a way to get around it. What if it was egregiously wrong, Gage?
Yeah, what if instead of accidentally reaching for your gun instead of your taser, you accidentally reach for your gun instead of your pepper spray?
True.
That's like getting into qualified immunity and how they curb those cases.
Yeah.
Like how I'm pretty sure like there was a case where a dog bit somebody and like maimed them, and then they used it, like they tried to argue it again in another case, and it was, oh, actually this is different, so they're still immune.
Yeah.
Like it was a dog in a forest that maimed somebody instead of a dog in a city that maimed somebody.
Bro, qualified immunity is literally just like cops getting away with crime.
Uh-huh.
Like that's all. It's just like cops being able to get away with crime while they're on the job.
Like all you need is there to be one thing that's contextually different, no matter how minuscule, and it's a completely different case. And you guys have qualified immunity, and you can be qualifiedly immune. It's
just the state protecting the state.
Uh-huh.
That's all that is. That's literally all that is. Anyways, in May, the House approved legislation to create the January 6th Commission, which originally was supposed to be a bipartisan commission, and the GOP said no.
Yeah, they
it's
said
going to be
no.
a bipartisan commission. Equal amount of Democrats and Republicans, even though the GOP is literally complicit in what happened.
Yeah.
They would have to get approval from both parties on the commission and able to be able to subpoena people and call them to testify. And the GOP said, no, not doing it.
I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know why they thought that they'd get like an equal amount to be cooperative.
I don't know.
Especially in hindsight.
No, they were given an equal opportunity. The Democrats said, let me give you some affirmative action real quick. They said, let me get you on this commission to be bipartisan. But I mean, I guess they decided that the message there would be that Republicans think there's actually something to investigate when it comes to January 6th. So they said, we're just not going to take part in that.
They literally gave them the opportunity to ruin the investigation, and they didn't take it for messaging because they're messaging demons.
Well, I mean, honestly, when it comes to Republican messaging, I think the smarter move is to not join the committee.
Exactly.
And then later on discredit everything that they did rather than try to control it internally. And they know that.
Because they're messaging demons. Like, it's ridiculous.
Because that is like the correct, like that's good optics for them. And like, it's terrible. I wish they were as smart as they are. But it's really good optics for them to do that. And so they shot it down and they said like, you shouldn't investigate it, but also you won't find anything even if you do.
Yeah.
And yeah. That's about what happened with the January 6th Commission. And, of course, it failed in the Senate when Mitch McConnell said, I don't want to do this. But now we have the commission as we know it today with Cheney and Kissinger.
Adam Kissinger? Yeah. And Cheney was stripped of her committee assignments?
Oh, yeah. Right before that, the actual commission was created. Or maybe it was around the time that the original commission was being proposed. Cheney was stripped of all of her assignments because she said that, like, maybe Donald Trump shouldn't have stormed the Capitol.
No, that's literally it. She said something, like, super mild. When it comes to, like, for Republican standards, something incredibly mild.
Yeah.
And then they said, oh, fuck you, you're done.
Well, actually, it was because she voted for impeachment. The second impeachment, which we didn't even talk about.
Oh, my fucking God. I completely forgot about the second impeachment because it was just so nothing.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter.
When did that even happen?
The beginning of the year. It was after Trump left, after January
February,
20th.
right?
Yeah, it was in February because I remember the criticism was like, well, he's out of office. What are you going to do? And they also criticized them for not going fast enough, but also for going too slow.
Yeah, because they were actively holding it up, saying, why aren't you going faster?
Yeah, exactly. They said, well, you can't impeach him right now because he's about to leave, but also you can't do it after he leaves. So basically, if you're a president on the exit, if you're leaving, you're just God King and you can do anything.
Yeah, the GOP literally had them saying, why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself?
Yeah, exactly. And then also, a little bit later on in May, the IDF began to escalate tensions with the Palestinians and Israel. They fired a bunch of rubber bullets into a crowd at the
Al-Aqsa Mosque,
at a
the
mosque.
second holiest site in Islam during Ramadan.
Yes.
Fucking wild.
Disrespectful.
For like no reason,
horrible
too.
Stuff.
I'm pretty sure it was literally for like no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
Yeah, and then of course throughout the summer we saw tensions escalate between Israel and Hamas and the Palestinians in general. And there's a bunch of rhetoric around like, Israel's the Holy Land.
Like, if you don't support Israel, then that means you love Hamas. No.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, no.
Or not supporting Israel means that you are anti-Semitic.
That was a big thing this summer.
Yeah.
That was super fucking annoying.
Yeah. I mean, the general take on Israel, we never really got a chance to talk about it too in depth, but like The general take is just like, you don't get to have an ethno-state.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Nobody gets to have an ethno-state.
Israel sucks. IDF fell off.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with the Jewish religion.
Nothing at all wrong with Judaism or anything.
I
It's
just don't
just
like
the idea of the
authoritarians.
ethno-state, and it's just the literal crimes against humanity
Yes.
that the state of Israel and the IDF commit against the people of Palestine in Gaza specifically, the world's largest open-air prison.
No, it's literally just apartheid.
Mhm.
Like it's just apartheid in Israel. Like Palestinians are literally just treated as second-class citizens that
Yeah.
are disposable and can be treated with extreme brutality.
They have to have like different license plates too to identify them.
Drive on different roads.
There's so much settler colonialism that goes on.
Mhm.
Motherfuckers can literally just move into a Palestinian house.
And look, if you have the opposite opinion of us and you're like, well, you haven't looked at the 2,000 years of history, I
Hey,
don't
you're
give a
literally
fuck.
just fucking wrong. Like, shut the fuck up.
No, but like even if you want to put it in context with the history of Israel for like thousands and thousands of years,
Yeah.
I don't give a damn.
Mhm. No,
This is the
it does
correct
not matter.
take.
It does not matter. What matters are the crimes against humanity that happen right now.
Exactly.
That literally are happening right now.
Yeah, what matters is who's being oppressed, and siding with the oppressed is always the way.
All the fucking brutality that is going on right now in Gaza and in Palestine in general, bro. Shit's ridiculous. Free Palestine.
Yeah. Nobody gets an ethno-state. Sorry about that, buddy.
Yeah.
But then in June, lots
Okay.
of bad stuff happened. We're gonna do a little bit of a
Yeah.
speed run. So first, several U.S. cities reported their hottest temperatures recorded ever.
Crazy.
So that's a lot of fun. Climate change is cool.
It's almost like every year we have a new temperature record set. I wonder what
Yes.
could be. I wonder what could be doing that.
The Green New Deal. Later in June, Bill Cosby's released from prison on a technicality.
Fucking atrocious. That event. Oh my god, dude.
The rhetoric around that was abysmal.
The rhetoric around that not only
unfathomable.
was abysmal, but just like the fact that that's a technicality in general is so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like, wasn't it like the prosecution used a piece that he had already done a plea for like a year back, and so therefore he was immune because there was like a plea deal that he did.
Was it something about him being tried like twice for the same thing?
I think that was a part of
It was some kind of civil infraction on
Yeah.
the part of the state or the courts.
But the prosecutor used information that technically wasn't supposed to be used because he had
Yeah,
already
yeah,
gotten
yeah.
immunity from that for a plea deal that he did. But the information that he used was literally the fact that he admitted like raping somebody.
Yeah.
So fucking crazy how
So
that works.
What did bro serve, like a year? 2 years?
I don't know.
He did
I
not
can't
serve
remember.
very long in
Mm-mm.
prison. So bro's a free man.
Yeah.
Just 100% free
Mhm.
man. So that's a lot of good news. And then also in June, the Biden administration goes completely mask off with immigration. When Kamala Harris visits Guatemala and tells all the immigrants, or the
That's where we
potential
get the-
immigrants, all the native people of Guatemala to not come. Do not
Do
come.
not come. I'm gonna come.
Exactly. So lots of fun. And then of course later on we saw them be absolutely terrible
Exactly.
in like August or
this
September.
is like where we learn that they are going to be just as brutal as the Trump administration was in dealing with immigration. There's
Uh-huh.
absolutely nothing that we can do about it.
Yeah, when Tommy Lauren is on her show saying like this is the right call, talking about Kamala Harris, you done something wrong, baby.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
cannot be complimented by Tommy Lauren and like think that you're doing something right.
And let's not forget that Biden just kind of pushed immigration all on Kamala and is
Oh.
just letting her take 100% of the fall.
He is so good at making other people just take all of the hits. Like when he had that general like take responsibility for the humanitarian aid worker that was killed in
Oh,
Afghanistan.
yeah, that shit happened in August.
Yeah, we got that a little bit later
Wild.
on. He's just so good at making other people just take punches
Pete
for him.
Buttigieg for the supply chain
Yeah.
crisis. Mayor Pete.
Joe Biden's just good at dodging those punches.
Bro's
baby.
chilling with his sunglasses and double scoops, just ready.
We need to put him in a ring because he'll be dodging all the hits.
Facts. Bro's like
and then,
Mayweather with
Of
it.
course, later on in June, America's crumbling infrastructure was on full display when
Mhm.
in Florida and Miami, a 13-story building collapsed and killed 100 people,
Yeah.
or about 100 people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, nothing's gonna be done.
And I'm pretty sure like an investigation happened and it was like came out like a couple months later about how the contractors like knew that shit was like
Yes.
not up to code at all, not a singular bit.
It's not surprising that they knew. Like the incompetence of like private contractors in these states is just
Yeah.
fucking astounding. Like their short-term focus on profit is just
Mhm.
it's fucking like people die.
Yeah.
And nothing is done, even when states or the federal government is telling you, like, you need to fix this or people are going to fucking die, like in Texas.
And it's like, even anecdotally, everybody has a fucking personal experience with this and just
Yeah.
like dealing with your landlord and trying to get them to fix a fucking issue and how impossible it is to get them to just admit that something is wrong and that they need to fix it.
Yeah, that is like, for as like minuscule the job of landlord is, your one job is to fix shit when it's broken for your tenants.
Your one job isn't even to fix it. Your one job is to hire somebody to fix it
Yeah.
with the profits that you made from just having money. That's
Yeah.
it. Like,
But like a landlord isn't a real job. But the one responsibility you have is to at least handle when things are broken in somebody's like apartment or whatever.
And it's often not even their responsibility. It's the responsibility of, say it with me, the property manager that they've hired to do their job for them. Because again, being a landlord, all it takes is to have money.
Get a real job.
Landlords are leeches.
Get a real job. And I know what you're saying. Like, you know, the mom and pops landlords are like, well, we just rent out our, you know, like summer cabin or whatever once a year to people that want it. I don't give a fuck.
Shit. Like, sure, do it. Like, in the context of this economy, whatever. But if you're one of those motherfuckers that owns like a unit,
you suck.
And you're not just like renting out like an extra house that you have that you don't know what you're doing with yet, and it's kind of like in limbo. Like, just fuck off.
If you buy property for the purpose of like selling to people, or like renting out to people, I mean, come on.
The express purpose of buying a property as an investment vehicle is scumbag behavior.
Yeah.
Scumbag behavior.
Later in July, good month for content creators. Several billionaires go to space, mostly in like dick-shaped,
very phallic rockets. Yes.
Including Richard Branson, Sir Richard Branson himself, and Jeff Bezos. And then also, later on in July, Simone Biles withdraws from the Olympics, and conservatives are snowflakes about
that shit was horrible, but just back to the Jeff Bezos thing, that shit was so fucking funny when he's sitting there and he's talking about, when you just look at the world, when you get to look at the world from space, you just see you get a whole new perspective on things. Okay, bro, pay your workers more.
Yeah.
Pay your workers more. Please stop like micromanaging every single thing that your workers do in the distribution centers. Please let people go to the bathroom.
Oh my God, I know.
Like that's one thing. Please, that's at the top of the list. Actually,
why do you get to go to space? And
your workers don't get to go to the bathroom.
Fucking suffers. Like you don't give them a day off while you're up in space. You're clearly not doing anything there.
All the fucking money just for your little like pet project to go to space real quick.
Bro made millions while he was up in space.
What
could he have possibly been doing for work? Nothing.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Absolutely nothing.
Wait a minute.
I'm surprised his ex-wife didn't, like, with all of her money, hire the U.S. military to, like, Stryker missile this dude while he was flying up into space. Like, I'm surprised she didn't do that. Like, she's giving a lot of money away.
I think she gave most of it away.
Good for her.
And they're just trying to live off their, like, she married, like, a teacher or some shit.
Yeah.
And they're trying to, like, live off that. Like,
that's
she gave a lot of it away.
I mean, you're put in that position with basically infinite money. Like, good for her.
And she's a class warrior. Also, greatest investor in the history of all time.
Class hero.
She really bought the dip. And then rode that shit all the way up and exited.
Good for her.
Let's go.
Good for her. Also in July, Delta becomes the dominant strain of COVID in the United States.
Yes.
And now it's different. Omicron.
Yeah, now it's sorry, Delta.
Is it Omicron now?
It's Omicron.
Yeah.
Sorry, Delta. Right. You're old news now.
And then August. Big month for the United States, bigger month for the pod.
That's right. That's when we launched, baby.
That's right. August, Biden begins withdrawing troops from Afghanistan in accordance with a deal that was negotiated by Trump with the Taliban. And then shortly after, or during the evacuation or the withdrawal, the Kabul airport is bombed. 13 service members die. And as Marjorie Taylor Greene said, 13 of our best soldiers died in Afghanistan. But, conveniently forgot about the thousands of other ones that died.
Yeah, conveniently forgot about all of the civilians that died at the airport when the soldiers who weren't hit with the bomb started shooting into the crowd because the fog of war, they didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Gotta love a war crime. Just a late-stage war crime.
Gotta love just not focusing on any of the civilians who simply just wanted a better life, too.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely one of the biggest news stories of 2021. But then later on, as I mentioned before, I can't remember which military general this was, but they had to get on camera after the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan and say that in our final moments exiting Afghanistan, we thought we found the person responsible for the bombing, and then we hit them with a drone missile. Turns out it was a humanitarian aid worker based out of California and also 7 children.
I actually, I don't think that happened after the bombing of the Kabul airport. I think that was right before, right?
No, because that was the guy they were trying to track down, right? Was the dude who was responsible for the Kabul bombing?
Oh, it might have been. It might have been. I know. Like what happened specifically is they had been tracking this car like all day, right? Yeah. And they thought that it was going to like a known ISIS-K facility, and they ended up like just switching at some point during the day to a different car that was the same car, and they thought that this dude's water jugs that he was taking back to his neighborhood, because again, he's a humanitarian aid worker who was employed by a U.S. NGO.
Yeah. Based in California.
Yeah, they made a kerfuffle. They oopsie daisied into drone striking a dude and 8 children.
Yeah, and they literally just killed someone who was helping a nearby town.
Yeah, that's
Jesus
it.
Christ.
That's it. How the fuck do you watch how do you switch cars? Like, It's not like the fucking the Mario game, a Mario Party, senseless, where you got to go through and look at all the toads, right?
Yeah.
And how it's easy because like all of them look the same. Like you might start tracking the wrong one. These are 2 fucking cars, like bro. It's your literal job. All you got to do is sit there and watch the fucking car all day. How do you fuck up this bad?
Bro, and oh my god, how did they not know like when they were watching them on the drones that like there's children out there?
Yeah.
Like Jesus Christ, man!
Yeah.
Like the incompetence of the U.S. military. We just hit a quick war crime on the way out.
Like you couldn't
Oh
have
my
waited
God.
till like the kids went away, maybe to hit the strike. Like that's absolutely wild. And then it was the general that stepped forward and really took responsibility and took accountability for what happened.
He's not
Even
going
though
to jail though.
nothing's gonna happen to that guy.
Nope.
Nothing's gonna happen to any of the people under his command. Ridiculous.
The cost of war is free for these people.
Yeah.
Literally no cost at all. But then, of course, in August, you also get the full FDA approval for the Pfizer vaccine. Not that it makes any fucking difference whatsoever, but it happened. And, of course, criticism for the vaccine did not go away. And then also, Andrew Cuomo leaves office and Kathy Hochul becomes the New York governor because Andrew Cuomo is a horrible fucking
Andrew
human being.
Cuomo is a sex pest.
So is Chris Cuomo, apparently. According to the last
True.
2 episodes ago, whatever.
Allegedly, Chris Cuomo is a sex pest.
Yeah, allegedly. Then in September, abortion becomes the main focus with the Texas abortion law going into effect, I think on like the 1st or the 4th of the month or something like that. And this was the law that allowed for anyone who aids in an abortion to be sued for $10,000 or more if the abortion happens after 6 weeks.
By a private citizen. This is a law that deputized private citizens to go after their neighbors.
Yeah.
If they ever get a whiff of neighborhood gossip that they might have gotten an abortion.
Yeah. And then recently, SCOTUS refused to even hear about overturning the law.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And there's
lots of fun.
Isn't there a Roe v. Wade challenge like at the court
happening
now
like,
as we speak?
Yeah, it started in December. It's been like being deliberated, and we'll probably get a decision at the beginning of next year.
Yeah, that's also absolutely fucking wild. Notably, what else happened in September?
What else happened in September?
Unemployment fucking ended.
Oh yeah.
Unemployment literally gone, and that
so
was
fun.
Also when the eviction moratorium ended, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, we covered that as well.
Crazy. That's when all the good things that were happening, like all the good government things as a response to COVID, fucking ended with no continuation in sight.
When we were writing the show notes for this, I was really trying to think like, if I got into a conversation with a conservative and they said like, well, name one good thing that Joe Biden did.
Stimmies.
I was trying to think, and it's like, I can't really come up with stuff outside of the American Rescue Plan.
Yeah, that's it.
Like I honestly, like you got me. I can't really come up with anything. And maybe there's some stuff I'm forgetting about, but like other than like not being a fucking psychopath, what would I even say?
Maybe if I was like a liberal, there'd be some cool things to say.
Right, like
but I don't even know.
I got a laundry list against Trump. But like Joe Biden, like I can't defend him at all. That's gonna make like mobilizing voters in 22 and 24 all that more difficult.
Impossible.
Yeah. Later in the fall, booster shots are approved by the FDA, and Facebook also turns into Meta.
That's big rebrand
in an attempt
right there.
to dodge the accusations of destroying everybody's mental health after a whistleblower came out and leaked a bunch of stuff against Facebook. And Facebook is successful because nobody's talking about it anymore.
Not a single person. Same thing with the Pandora Papers.
Yeah.
Those
true, yeah.
The bombshell documents that were going to expose the world's like billionaires and foreign dignitaries and how they dodge taxes and have all this dark money going around. That was big for like 2 days.
Yep.
And got like an NBC article, and that was it. And everyone's forgot about it.
It got Head in the Office coverage though.
The facts, yeah, we got it. We're your trusted source right here.
Exactly. And then, of course, at this point in the fall, legislative progress has basically hit a standstill. The infrastructure deal still seems like it's going to happen, but like Build Back Better is still pretty far away.
Yeah, didn't the infrastructure deal just straight up like pass?
Yeah, no, it's
that's just like gonna happen sometimes. But Build Back Better, absolutely dead in the water. After all of the concessions were made for Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, after we cut Medicare being able to negotiate drug prices, after we cut dental and hearing,
yeah,
or the only thing that's left is vision, right? Or is the only thing left hearing?
I think it was just hearing. They took out the two expensive ones.
Yes, so after we cut dental and vision from Medicare coverage, $15 minimum wage cut way before that in the American Rescue Plan, taxes,
free college gone,
most childcare go fucking gone, dead in the water.
Child tax credit, go fuck yourself.
Child tax credit can fuck off. Corporate tax rate increases, sorry, gotcha. Regular tax increases for the top 1%. I don't know. I don't really agree with that one.
Was it like 2.9%?
Yeah, but didn't Kirsten Sinema just say she straight up opposes
Oh
any
yeah, she
increase
opposed
to taxes?
all tax increases.
Yeah, any capital gains increases gone, even though long-term capital gains are taxed at the highest, I believe 20%.
Step
20
of
or
basis,
25.
staying in the law.
Even though that's the thing that Joe Biden ran on and he can get rid of pretty easily, step of basis is still there.
He can get rid of that on his own?
I don't know, but I'd
Oh,
imagine it'd be
probably not.
pretty fucking easy to get rid of it.
It should be. You would
Yeah,
think so.
Yeah.
You would absolutely think so. But again, at this point, in November, the infrastructure deal is passed, and Build Back Better is it hit a wall, or maybe the wall was always there and we just didn't know.
Yeah.
Roads and bridges.
I think the wall's got a name. The wall might have two names. I'll let you put the pieces together.
Yeah, maybe. But again, the infrastructure deal passed. Roads and bridges, baby. That's literally it. Turns out Joe Biden can't reach across the aisle because that's literally what he ran on, was being, the unity president reaching across the aisle. He said, I can get a deal done. Bernie wouldn't be able to get a deal done because I can reach across the aisle. He can't. And looks like neither of them would probably have been able to do it.
Looks like bro can't get a deal done within his own party.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not even like Joe Biden's fault per se. It's just like the state of American politics and how fucking psychotic the GOP is. But we should never have bought into the idea that he was going to be able to buy or reach across the aisle and get buy-in.
I mean, to be fair, I didn't really buy into it. No. I just damage
people
control.
Did though.
A lot of people did. That's fair. But I'm starting to feel Charlemagne. I'm starting to feel Charlemagne when he said, "Who's really the president?"
Yeah.
Is it Joe Manchin or Joe Biden?
I have some criticisms of Charlemagne. I think he said some out-of-pocket shit before.
Some very out-of-pocket shit before.
But that was one of the good ones. And then in November, we also see Kyle Rittenhouse walk, which was pretty recent. And then, of course, there was a school shooting at Oxford High School in Michigan. Two events that we've already covered pretty extensively. But pretty bad way to round out the end of what would really be all progress. Yeah.
It's been a bad year, everybody. It's been a bad year. And this is with us, like, I don't want to say ignoring all the COVID things that happened, but there are simply too many COVID things that happened to like dive into it. But it's just, you all know the state of everything with that going on.
Yeah. Oh, we got a COVID update in a bit.
Oh, we got like a big COVID update at the end.
Yeah.
But, I just wanted to talk about throughout the year, we've seen a multitude of wins with regard to like labor.
The little bit of positive news that we actually have to like cusp in our hands is everything else is taken away from us.
Which doesn't get much coverage because I found out about one of these things today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I found out about it today. I didn't even I haven't seen it in those. I've been checking every fucking day, because we do be doing the pod.
Gotta love how the news is just literally subservient to capital.
Exactly. But anyway, I digress. In October, more than 10,000 John Deere workers went on strike demanding better contracts for their workers. And in November, they won pay raises, an $8,500 bonus, and they got to keep their current health care, which didn't require that they pay any premiums. All the premiums were like paid by John Deere. So that was nice. That's a big win.
I might start a union. Against Gage on Head in the Office.
Shit. Yeah, we might unionize Head in the Office.
Yeah, one-person union.
Fuck. How does that vote work? Do we both have to vote for it?
I'm about to declare I need more. You got to pay me
more. Yeah, who's the union rep?
Oh, shit.
Fuck. What are we going to do here? What are we going to do? Anyways, also in October, that's when Kellogg workers started to go on strike. The workers in, Michigan, Arizona, and a couple other states.
Yeah, there's people protesting, or not protesting. They were striking in Battle Creek, Michigan. Yeah.
Yeah, there was just a Bernie rally there.
Yeah.
That's like 2 hours away from us, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's
pretty crazy.
That's crazy. But anyway, they went on strike demanding an end to like their two-tiered employment system within Kellogg, which is really fucking weird that some people...
Is it two-tiered, like liberals get more than conservatives?
Oh, yeah, that's exactly how it was. No, it was just some people just like if they'd been there longer, they were like a tenured employee. Yeah. I don't really know another word to describe it. Just we're paid more for no reason.
Oh yeah, it's just a way of like phasing out benefits for future workers.
Yeah, no, like, that's literally what it was. Is anyone that was being hired just was paid less. Yeah, just strictly paid less for the same job.
Is it right that Kellogg was trying to make it 3-tiered with their new contract? They were trying to implement another tier so that people that join after the second tier workers on a third tier with even less benefits and pay. It's just a way of literally just like phasing out all benefits for future generations of employees at Kellogg.
That is aggressively horrible.
Comically evil shit. Like cartoonishly evil.
Thank God they didn't get away with it.
I know. Thank God.
Spoiler alert, they didn't get away with it. Thank God, because the strike went on for 11 weeks and it just ended on December 21st.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was fucking surprised because I did not hear a thing about it.
Nah.
I was just looking it up because I wanted to look up the terms, like exactly why they were striking, what everything was going on, and I thought, oh, it ended.
Yeah.
Crazy how nobody's fucking covered it.
Nobody talks about
But
it.
yeah, the Kellogg strike ended, and essentially, what the 14,000 striking workers achieved is that they got an agreement that would end the 2-tiered system, maybe the 3-tiered system. Everybody's the same, baby. It would increase pay across the board over the next 5 years, and it would enhance the current benefits.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
The labor movement is alive and well.
Yeah,
Striking work.
This was a scary one, though, because this happened after Kellogg threatened to fire every single one of the striking workers and just straight up move their plants overseas.
Was Kellogg the one hiring scabs?
Yeah, they're about to.
Just having people like come in and fill the open positions. That's just fucking diabolical.
Yeah.
Like straight up evil. I don't know. It should not be allowed.
Absolutely insane. And I know at the beginning of the strike, they just straight up threatened, we'll move your jobs to Mexico.
Yeah.
We will do it. We do not give a fuck. We will eat that cost. Fuck you.
That's the shit you see in like political drama TV shows. Like, they're outsourcing. Like we need to, save the job. Like that's the kind of shit you see in like Veep or something.
Oh,
but,
shit.
It's
just the West Wing.
It's just evil. It's just evil.
Yeah.
Oh my
I don't know how anybody can just like support that. Be like, yeah, that's a free market, baby.
I don't know.
Unions, no, we don't like unions. Like, how can you not fuck with that?
Yeah, the market is free, except the market's free unless you start winning. Then I have to make it not free for you.
Yeah, I just don't understand how you can look at things like this and see how they're literally creating what could have been a 3-tiered employment system just expressly for the reason of we don't want you to have health care. We just want to not have to give you any benefits and think unions are bad.
Yeah.
Like, how can you think that?
Unions
I just don't
are
understand.
objectively good.
Yes, there's nothing bad that can come from them, bro. Union dues are often, most of the time, I'm pretty sure every single time a union is implemented, union dues are covered and then some by your pay raise.
Oh yeah, no, like just about every time. And even when union dues are taken out of your paycheck, it just goes directly into supplementing the union, the money that the union needs to survive, and also just strike funds.
And
so that you can go on strike and not go poor.
And you still net more money with your union dues taken out than you did before. It's absolutely fucking wild.
It's
but
absurd.
anyways,
Objectively good.
Another win in Buffalo, New York. As we've talked about a couple times these last weeks. Friends of the pod.
Starbucks workers, friends of the pod.
Yes, the Starbucks workers formed the first Starbucks union. So that was pretty cool. But it wasn't all good. We also saw the unionization effort from the Amazon distribution center workers in Bessemer, Alabama, snuffed out by Amazon.
Well, I don't know. I haven't heard any news on this recently, but they may be doing the re-election. They may be running that one back.
For real?
The NLRB was, I think, siding with them, saying like there's been discrepancies in this election. I think Amazon's interfered.
Yeah.
So it might be ran back, but again, that may not be the most recent news on that. So things could have changed.
Oh, they definitely interfered.
Oh, 100%.
They definitely fucking interfered.
Unquestionably interfered.
They made employees go to like these mandatory trainings talking about why you shouldn't join a union, and they patronized them so fucking much. They said, why pay these union dues when you could buy a PS5?
Except I can't.
Why
Except you can't.
Why get like a $3 an hour pay increase when you can buy a PS5?
Exactly.
Think about
we
it.
take good care of you.
Think about it.
Exactly. But honestly, I think that what happened in Bessemer, Alabama, was that in 2020 or 2021 or early 2021? I can't even remember.
Oh fuck! I honestly, that might have been last year.
But
my bad, gang.
No, it's fine. It's just like it was one of the first ones that happened, like one of the first big ones that got.
That
a lot
was
of
one
news
of the
attention.
first like union labor news things to sort of break into mainstream media.
Exactly.
And spark this new wave.
I think the people striking in Amazon, or the workers for Amazon that were striking in Alabama, really inspired a lot of like other unions to stand up, because honestly, in my mind too, I was thinking like if people can take on Amazon in Alabama, in red ass country ass Alabama, they can take on the biggest corporation in America, in the world maybe. Then like of course, like your workers in Starbucks can take on their corporation in Buffalo. Of course, like you can take on Kellogg. Like yes, it was a good reminder for the entire world that you can stand up to corporate interests if you try to come together.
You can secure better things for yourself.
And even though they lost their initial election, hopefully they get to run that back.
Yeah.
But they inspired a lot of people to do the same, and a lot of people are benefiting because of it. And that's solidarity.
Shouts out to you guys.
Unionize your workplace if you haven't.
That's right, baby.
If you don't have a union, if you work for a big corporation, don't be afraid. Unionize your workplace. You might get fired. I got fired, but you can try it.
Jeremy did get union busted. Shit was kind of crazy.
I straight up did get union busted. If you're a student at college, that may be a little difficult. I would advise you to be smart about it.
Maybe be more elegant about trying to unionize your university ran workplace.
Exactly. Maybe we'll have a story time about that one day. But for now, if you're trying to unionize, be smart, be quiet, and hit them when they're not looking.
We'll advise you sometime about that.
Yeah, exactly. Not legal advice, of course.
No.
So I think that probably
wraps it up for like our yearly recap. Of course, there were the pervasive supply chain issues that were just kind of there in the background all year and pop their head up every once in a while. But again, that's another COVID kind of thing that's hard to like tackle.
Let's see, what didn't we cover? Rush Limbaugh, he smoked on. Yeah,
rest in peace.
He got smoked on. Nicki Minaj cousin's balls. We didn't talk about that.
Oh, anti-vax Nicki Minaj.
What else? There was. Do you remember that picture with Joe Biden in the White House with Jimmy Carter? He looked really big.
Yes, that
we didn't talk about that one either.
The private citizens that flew out to Afghanistan to rescue a bunch of people.
That was crazy
because of the American military's incompetence. If you want to hear about that, check out. Was that SCOTUS Wants You to Be Homeless?
I don't know. It was one of our episodes. We did talk about it.
It was one of those episodes like around that time.
What was the highlight reel?
Highlight reel US. It was something there because we were covering Afghanistan for like 3 weeks. Just look around there, read the descriptions if you want to hear more about that story because we did in-depth coverage on that. That was fucking wild.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that catches us up to the present just about.
That does.
And you may be asking, what are our heroes in DC doing right now? what progress are we making? Where are we at?
Yeah. Where are we at with Omicron becoming the new dominant strain?
Yeah. So we got a COVID update with some media framing also. We got to talk about that a little bit. But first, we just recently surpassed 800,000 COVID deaths, which, another milestone. Got to love that.
Yep.
Quickly approaching 1 million. So 800,000 COVID deaths in the United States. And since it's the holiday season, there's expectations that there's definitely going to be a case spike, which we've kind of already seen. And there may also be a death spike, but hopefully not as bad as the previous death spike because we have vaccines now.
Yeah, and rumors are that Omicron isn't as deadly, but it's more transmissive. But rumors,
But as of right now, the United States is averaging about 1,100 deaths every day, which is a 9/11 every 3 days. And we are also averaging around 100,000 cases a day, according to the CDC. So things are not looking great for your boys in red, white, and blue.
And our vaccination rate is what, 62%?
I feel like it's been floating there for like fucking forever. So things are not looking great, and also like if vaccine immunity is wearing off because like that's just how vaccines work, and people aren't getting boosted, which they aren't. Things are looking rough. It's looking like another semester of online college, literally.
Not your boys, because we're getting our boosters soon.
Oh, true. Yeah, I'm getting mine literally on the day this comes out.
Oh, that's crazy.
As this comes out, I'm
gonna go get mine next week.
Yeah, pretty exciting. But the White House has been talking about publicly, the Omicron variant, and the CDC has released some press briefings.
Okay.
And I think it may be useful to go through them because some of this shit is fucking psychotic.
Yeah, let's do it.
So first, actually some good things. They said more support for hospitals, including 1,000 military troops deployed, hundreds of ambulances, and help for hospitals to ensure adequate equipment, supplies, and beds. That's one thing that they're going to be doing to help protect against Omicron, which good news.
That's like more than what happened at the beginning of the pandemic too.
Yeah. More testing, including federal sites, and 500 million tests that will be free to all Americans, which again, good stuff.
Yeah.
And more capacity to get shots in arms, including new mobile clinics, hundreds of additional vaccines or vaccinators in the field, and tens of thousands of new appointments. So
pretty bad.
The opportunities are there. It seems like they're trying to reinforce hospitals as much as they can because they're literally going to be overwhelmed. But yeah, I mean, generally good things.
The CDC continuing to do their job like they've been trying this whole fucking pandemic.
I know, like
trying their hardest.
They've been trying their best. Also, at the same press conference, they said the Pfizer team has a very promising and now authorized treatment, a pill that dramatically reduces the risk of hospitalization and death for those at risk. We've purchased 10 million courses, more than anyone in the world. According to Pfizer, the complex chemistry involved in creating the active ingredient in the pill means production takes about 6 to 8 months. So supply of this product will ramp up over the next several months, which again is good. And I'm wondering how the anti-vaxxers are going to react to a pill.
I have no idea.
Because they've been taking horse paste.
They've been
taking hydroxychloroquine, a treatment for malaria.
Ivermectin.
Yeah.
I honestly have no idea how that's going to go down.
I don't know.
I feel like it's just going to ride the same anti-vax wave because they're going to see that Pfizer made it.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Yeah, but they'll say Pfizer made it. Meanwhile, they literally like take ibuprofen.
Yeah.
Constructed at
No,
Pfizer.
literally.
Like, it is fucking, it's mind-boggling. But also on December 17th, there's a bit more of a kind of a crazy quote.
Okay.
Which, like, I understand it. I have a mixed take on this, but we'll get into it.
All right, I'm ready.
But the quote is...
this is the White House statement?
Yeah, this is the White House statement.
God,
They said this was a part of a longer press briefing, but their statement was, "We are intent on not letting Omicron disrupt work and school for the vaccinated. You've done the right thing, and we will get through this. For the unvaccinated, you're looking at a winter of severe illness and death for yourselves, your families, and the hospitals you may soon overwhelm." And you may say I'm taking it out of context. You know, maybe I'm taking them out of context, but
that was the full statement that they posted. Like, they posted that.
There was more,
yeah,
like, to the press conference in general, like more of the transcript, but it doesn't really change much if you put it in context. It's just more about, like, you know, our vaccines work against Omicron. Sickness while vaccinated isn't as bad. Wear your masks, social distance, that kind of thing. But this was like the meat of the statement.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fucking insane.
I personally, I do not like it one bit, because, like, what's the intent behind it? The intent behind it is to get more people vaccinated, right? Like, that's the assumption that I'm operating under. If you're trying to get more people vaccinated, I don't think this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
The ads that you were running a couple months ago showing, like, people's experiences having COVID, like, if we're talking about, like, ways to effectively fearmonger, because that's what this is. Like, you know what I mean? It's fear-mongering. Those ads were a better way to do it than what this is.
Yeah.
Because the people who are already thinking that this shit is bullshit, which it's like a large set of the population thinks that all of the COVID shit is bullshit.
Like at least 30%.
Yeah. They think that it's the flu. They were never going to get vaxxed. They're not going to get vaxxed. This only pushes them further right.
Didn't LeBron James just say, like, COVID is the flu?
Yep. LeBron James just came and tweeted out a picture. It was the Spider-Man meme. And it was like COVID, the flu, influenza, or some shit like that. And it's like, come on, bro. Come on.
And it's like LeBron James usually has pretty good takes.
He's usually very, like, liberal.
Yeah, like, I mean, he usually has takes that are, like, socially acceptable. But that shit is kind of putrid.
That's just very putrid. There's a bunch of people coming out and agreeing with him.
And it's
like,
of course.
Bro's got a lot of sway over the culture, which is a huge issue. And this is not how you get those people that are on the edge right there. I'm sorry. I just don't think this is the proper way to do that, to achieve that goal.
Here's my take. And it's nuanced. It's a nuanced take.
Okay.
First of all, there's a lot of people that can't take the vaccine, and that includes, like, children under 12. And that, I don't know if that's changed recently, like with vaccine guidelines or whatever. Some people can't get sick or can't get vaccinated because they have, like, autoimmune diseases. And, like, also unvaccinated people don't just, like, deserve to die.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, at this point, like, social buy-in for lockdowns, for more vaccines, for more masks, for more social distancing, like, it's just fucking gone.
That's exactly my point.
At this point, I honestly, like, I don't know what the messaging could look like to get more people vaccinated. Because those that want to be vaccinated already are. And, of course, we have more people getting vaccinated. Like, I know, like, a lot of people got vaccinated, like, 6 months after vaccines.
There are obviously people still in the middle that are coming around to it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, like, it's difficult because, like, this seems very atrocious. Like, it's just a fucking, it's a violent statement.
Yeah.
Something that, like, we can say.
Yeah.
But elected officials shouldn't be saying. But at the same time,
it's weird coming from the White House.
I don't know how else you convince people to get vaccinated.
I just don't think that rhetoric at this point can do it. I think that you just do it through mandates.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Fair. I think you just kind of make people get the shot.
It's happened before.
Because the science is out. We know that this shit is safe. I think you just make people get it.
Yeah, I mean, like, what was it during the? It was smallpox or whatever the last, like, big pandemic was, like 100 years ago. Spanish flu. When the vaccines came out for that, like, police officers would come into your house if you weren't vaccinated and vaccinate you at gunpoint.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Like, and yeah, I'm not saying to do that, but I'm just saying, like, that is exactly what happened. Like, people would bust into your house and straight up, like, have a gun to your head and be like, you're getting vaccinated, because that's just what has to happen. Again, I'm not saying that we need to do that, but it's just like at least rhetorically, I don't know how else you get people to get vaccinated. I mean, Trump was on Candace Owens saying that the vaccines worked. Maybe that's effective.
Except it's not, though, because he's getting booed for talking about taking a booster shot.
Yeah.
Which he literally got booed at, was it his last rally? For saying that he got the booster. He's like, I got it.
He's very confused when he talks about vaccines.
He said, I got it. You should get it, but you don't have to get it. Nobody should force you to be able to get it. I'm on the train that you just mandate it. You just mandate it across the board. And I think it's funny, talking about mandates, how quick conservatives are to, like, understand the sort of implicit reasons that we have to work under capitalism, which is like the structural violence of poverty. They only understand it when it's in the context of a vaccine that they don't want to take.
Oh my God, yeah, that was one of my takes on this issue too. It's like they're criticizing Big Pharma and how profitable this is for Big Pharma to be able to distribute all of these vaccines and taking all the money from the U.S. government. And it's like, how can you only understand systemic issues when it's like adjacent to your political agenda?
But it's really funny what their conclusions are. Like you ask them, how do you want to fix it?
Yeah.
Like, how do you fix this? Like, clearly Big Pharma's in the pocket of the government because their whole thing is like, well, Pfizer and the government have a contract. Like, they literally have to do it. There's no other people that can make the vaccine. It's like, yeah, that's the issue.
Yeah.
That's one of the big issues with Big Pharma right now. But how do you fix it? And they go, you just work on your own immune system.
Yeah. Their answer is always like, go to the gym.
You go to the gym, you eat your veggies, and you take your vitamins.
It's like, dog, if I could have it my way, this system would have already been nationalized and the vaccines would have just came straight from the U.S. government.
That's it. It's all public funding anyway.
Yeah, we can't do that here. It is all public funding regardless. But it's like, yeah, their solution is always just like, work on yourself. It's like, that's not going to fucking... You want to solve a global pandemic by telling people to work on yourself? Like, are you fucking insane?
They will tell you everything that is wrong with the profit motive without saying that it's just the profit motive.
It's literally just capitalism.
Like, that's it. They would leap around the issue. They would dance around it.
Yeah, and like when it comes to the vaccines and people not trusting the vaccine and, you know, falling into this movement that clearly does not represent their interests, I think it's honestly more important, in my opinion, to think about why nobody trusts the U.S. medical apparatus in general. Like, our healthcare system is fundamentally built on just fucking people over.
It's broken. Insanely broken. Insurance companies, devilish.
Oh, yeah. Like, absolute demons. Like, they literally just exist to sell you drugs that you will get addicted to so that they can continue to make profit off of you, then eventually cut you off.
And insurance companies specifically exist to just price gouge.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they do with hospitals. They have contracts with hospitals strictly to price gouge legally.
Yeah, so like, of course, it's like, it's not even surprising that mass amounts of people do not trust Big Pharma because you really should not.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's like, yeah, you shouldn't trust Big Pharma. Yes, they're very abusive, but in this instance, it just so happens that their interests are aligned with ours.
Yeah.
And you have to understand that sometimes, because big corporations want to make a lot of money, they will act in your interest as well, only because it's adjacent to what they want. Like, I remember I saw, I think it was on an episode of Chapo Trap House. They had Slavoj Žižek, philosopher, on.
Yeah.
He's a political commentary kind of guy. And he said it's like their reaction is akin to like finding out that a husband is beating his wife, but you only call him out when he's like trying to stop her from choking on something. Like, he's giving her the Heimlich, and you're like, you're beating your wife.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, he beats his wife, but in this instance, he's trying to help. Like, it's you're calling them out for the wrong things.
Yeah.
Like, yes, they do this, but you never focus on it when they actually do it because you don't give a fuck.
It's kind of like how corporations will pink wash their products just because it's profitable for them. Just because generally people are very acceptive of LGBTQ things nowadays, which is a very good thing. And so corporations will play into that with things like Pride Month. But then conservatives are like, no, it's just the woke agenda. It's just communism running through everything.
Yeah, no, like corporations almost always try to like hop on to progressive movements, or they try to predict where progressive movements will go, and then you get shit like the Robin DiAngelo white guilt type shit, where it just doesn't make any sense and is not representative of like calls for racial justice in America. But they try to do it because they're trying to like, you know, seem popular to the young people who will be their consumer base.
Did that Robin DiAngelo shit happen this year, or was that the end of last year?
It's been happening. I think it happened in 2020.
It was the Coke one, like specifically.
Yeah, I think it happened in 2020 because that's when George Floyd died, and a lot of shit was going on about like racial justice in general.
Shit was fucking wild.
But yeah, no, it's terrible. Like in this one instance, corporations and their interests are aligned with like getting people back to work.
Barely.
Yeah. Like
barely.
And also, there were like hundreds and hundreds of corporations involved in the vaccine creation process, and there's only like 4 of them. Like, that's because they got whittled down because only a couple of the vaccines were actually seen to be effective.
Yeah, and they got like different corporations combined together. Like, that's how science works. It's a very collaborative process.
Yeah.
Built on public funding.
Also, if you are so concerned about like, you know, Fauci making lots of money off of Pfizer, then maybe we should deconstruct the profit motive in the healthcare industry. But you don't want to do that.
But again, they will dance around it.
You literally just want to complain and say that like Jewish people are causing all of our problems. Like you're just racist.
And just
you're
talk about, again, eating your veggies, taking your vitamins, going to the gym.
Yeah, exactly. And again, like I don't I don't really know how we get people there rhetorically at this point. Like I said, I mean, like Trump was on Candace Owens. I don't know if like that'll convince anybody at all, but it's like, I mean, I feel like this is just liberal democracy, like working how it does.
Again, I think it's a lost cause rhetorically. Just mandate that shit.
Yeah.
Big mandate guy over here.
Big mandate guy right here.
Big mandate guy right here.
And also, just a little bit of extra news. A lot of states are experiencing COVID peaks right now with the rolling back of restrictions or just the lack of restrictions to begin with in general. Mostly because of the holiday season.
Mostly because there's pretty much no restrictions. There's functionally zero restrictions just going on anywhere.
Namely, the peaks that we are seeing right now are in Florida, New York, Illinois, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. It's a spike in cases and not mostly deaths, at least yet.
Which is very good.
Which deaths tend to follow cases, as we've seen, like by a couple weeks.
Lagging.
So hopefully that doesn't happen. But with the vaccines, deaths are down, but cases are skyrocketing right now. But we'll see if Florida can beat their previous record, because they did that after vaccines were out.
Yeah, Florida's just been smashing records out here month after month.
On the side of COVID. Florida's been fucking terrible.
There's a lot of people that have been fighting on the side of the virus throughout this past pandemic.
Exactly.
Kind of crazy to witness.
You got to absolutely love that. Anyway, I think that probably sums up our COVID update. Get your shots.
Everybody get your shots. I hope the mandates come through. Mandates are set to come through at the beginning of next year. I believe like the 10th or 12th.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see if that shit still happens.
The ocean one is still happening. All right, it's going to be implemented.
That's what I was
January.
talking about.
Yeah. Hopefully that does happen. I'm tired of it, bro.
I'm really sick of the pandemic, bro. I just want to go to school.
Maybe 2022 is my year.
Yeah.
Maybe 2022 is my year.
New year, new me.
Exactly.
2022.
New year, same old me, actually.
Exactly. But we can't leave 2021 without giving a special thanks to just everybody that listened to the pod this year and everybody that supports us, whether you're a follower on TikTok, whether you're listening right now. We just cannot leave the year without thanking all you for just making all this possible, making the studio upgrades possible.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
This is a quarter of 100 episodes today. It's the 25th episode.
That's right. It's kind of a milestone.
Kind of a milestone. But yeah, we got to thank everybody. It would have been impossible without all of you supporting us.
Exactly.
All of our loyal patrons on Patreon.
Facts.
Making the studio upgrades possible, making the video possible, making it all possible, making the dream come true, if you will.
And we got to give a shout out to them real quick. So I'd like to shout out my mom, Nikki Nine Lives, Caden Kraut, Terrence Nicholson, Chris the Postman, Christy Beck, Omar Zuno, Abigail Cox, and Jeremy's mom for supporting the show and being our angel investors.
Yeah.
Our financial backers for this whole endeavor.
Yeah, they are supporting the super PAC that is Head in the Office.
Exactly.
So eventually one day we will become a multi-billion-dollar corporation
and we can start lobbying the government.
Screw democracy over.
Yeah, we can have more free speech than you because we have more money than you.
We're going to lobby for further restrictions on free speech except on podcasts.
Yeah, bigger shout out to Citizens United.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Citizens United. We're going to abuse the fuck out of that once.
Exactly.
And then once we're abusing it, then it's going to be overturned.
Yeah, facts.
We're doing the reverse psychology trick.
Oh, I like it. Exactly. I like it. Those are the plans for the future. Everybody, I hope you all have a great new year.
Exactly. Be safe celebrating.
Exactly.
Get your shots.
Yeah.
Unionize your workplace, and we'll see you all next week.
Exactly.
All right,
see y'all next year.